Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jamie if you are new here, and today's video I'm going over 3 very simple, easy meals that I have thrown together using just what I happen to have on hand. And like this one here, I am making the apple cinnamon muffins. I happen to find this on Pinterest. It comes from brooklynactivemama.com, and I will leave her recipe down in the description box below. What I'm doing here is just throwing a cup and a half of all-purpose flour in my bowl. I've got a half a cup of granulated white sugar, half a cup of packed brown sugar, although I really just use what I happen to have on hand, and I'm not even sure. It wasn't exactly a half a cup. It was probably less than that. But anyway, you're going to use 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, half a teaspoon of salt, a 1/3 cup of vegetable oil or canola oil, whatever you happen to have, 1 large egg, a 1/3 cup of milk, and 1 large apple, peeled, cored, or chopped. But in my case, I am using the apple pie filling that I happen to have in this mason jar, and I'm just mashing it up because what I'm doing is I'm cooking up these muffins to bring to church with me, and not everybody is the biggest fan of apple. And so I thought, well, if I mash the chunks of apple a little bit more, maybe, some people might like that, some people won't. I have no idea what people's apple preferences are. And honestly, if I could go back and do this again, I would have used the entire mason jar of that apple pie filling. It seemed to be a hit. Everybody at church really liked it. They were gone by the time our church service was over. And this recipe actually does make 12. So there was at least 12 people that liked the muffins. So you're just going to go ahead and put them into your muffin tin. And as you can see, it makes exactly 12 muffins. I kind of overfilled a couple of those cups, so I'm just kind of like moving it around a little bit. But anyway, setting that to the side, you're going to go ahead and grab another bowl, and you're just going to add some sugar, some flour. What is it? A 1/4 cup of white sugar, 2 tablespoons of flour, 2 tablespoons of butter, and a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. And I'm just taking my pastry cutter and I'm just kind of mashing it about, kind of like you do with like like pie crust, just trying to get it like all in piece-sized form, because what you're doing is you're making a crumble topping that you're going to sprinkle on top of the muffins right before you bake them. And so yeah, this was actually, it took a couple minutes, but we got there. So you're just going to evenly sprinkle them on top of your muffins. And I do have my oven. It is preheated to 400 degrees. Yep, it says 400 degrees, and you're going to put them in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. I think I did about 20 minutes. I think it was about 20 minutes, and you're good to go. Look how these turned out. These were delicious. Like I said, big crowd pleaser. So today we're making the chicken tortilla soup, and so I'm going to start with some chicken breast. Do a couple things of chicken here. Throw in some diced onion. I'm going to go ahead with, let's see, a tablespoon of some chili powder. Sprinkle that on there. This is a half tablespoon, that's why I did 2 of them. Half a teaspoon of some salt. Now, this recipe calls for chipotle peppers and adobo sauce, but I don't have that on hand right now. What I do have is the chipotle chili pepper seasoning, so I'm going to add that to it. And I think I'm going to do about half a tablespoon of that, and I can adjust to taste later on. Some garlic. I got some minced garlic here. I need to use up this jar, so I'm going to do 4 cloves of garlic. So I'm actually going to do about 4 teaspoons of garlic, and with 1 can of the fire roasted diced tomatoes. I'm going with this can of the Southwest style black bean soup, and I think I decided I am not going to drain it, so we're just going to add that in there. 1 32 ounce of the chicken broth. And I'm just going to kind of mix this around a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put this on low for about 8 hours. And then once it's done, we're going to go ahead and shred the chicken, and then we can serve it with our tortilla chips, some lime wedges, avocado, whatever you like your chicken tortilla soup with. Put the lid on here. Got it on low, 8 hours. So once that 8 hours was up, I just go ahead and shred the chicken. And now I know you could actually just shred the chicken right there in the crock pot and that would be just fine, except for I knew that there was like some pieces of the chicken that had like some undesirable pieces on it, you know, like gross, like cartilage or fat or something like that. And so I just want to make sure that we're not eating that stuff. So I'm kind of picky when it comes to meat. So I want to actually take it out of the crock pot instead of just shredding it right there. And then, you know, you don't want to just like go in with a bite and then you're like you're chewing on a chunk of fat. That's kind of disgusting. So that's why I do this. But this soup came together beautifully and we loved it. It was definitely a great way to use up that can of soup that I had in my pantry for I don't know how long. Look how delicious that looks. Oh my gosh, I would definitely make it again, especially with that chipotle chili powder that I had in there. That is a great addition. Just throwing it out there in case you have it and you want to use it. Okay, so dinner tonight is going to be pizza lasagna, and I just so happen to have everything in my pantry for it. It's actually very simple. I've never made this before, so we're going to try it together. So I've already got my oven preheated to 350 degrees, and it says to spray your baking dish. It doesn't say to use a 9x13, but if that's all you have, just go ahead and use that. It says a 12x8, and that's pretty much about what this is. I know it's got like the rounded edges on the top, but we're not going to worry about that today. I'm just going to go ahead and spray this down, because that's what it says to do. It calls for lasagna noodles, and it says to go ahead and cook and drain the noodles, but I happen to have oven ready noodles, so I think we can actually skip that step, which would be perfect because then it cuts down on some time too. The directions also says to take your preferred pizza sauce, whatever you happen to have on hand, and a can of Rotel, and you're supposed to put it in a saucepan and heat it up, and then you're going to use that as your sauce. But all you're really doing is like making that chunky, I think, and I don't think that's something that my girls are going to like, so I don't know how that's going to taste, but I'm going to skip that part. We're just going to go straight with the pizza sauce, so we're going to skip that step. But we're going to go right to the third step. We're going to get out a medium bowl. So basically you're going to get your ricotta cheese and a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. Now it says to use a 15-ounce container of ricotta cheese, and I don't have a whole lot. I've only got like maybe a little less than half of that, but that's okay. We'll make it stretch. So I'm just going to get this into the bowl, which is perfect because now I get to throw this away. And it says to use a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, which I'm going to have to get some of that here pretty soon too. I'm going to go ahead and mix this together. Now, I don't actually know, but I was thinking, you know, maybe we could add cream cheese or sour cream to this. I don't know how that will affect the taste, but we are just going to wing it and see what we can do here. Okay, so we're going to set this aside. So going back to our baking dish, and go ahead and spread a little bit of our pizza sauce on the bottom. Who doesn't love pizza? I mean, I was going to save this dish for tomorrow night, but Charlotte ended up coming home a little sooner than planned, and this is something that I could get her to agree to try, because I mean, she likes noodles, she likes pizza. She's not exactly sure if she'll like the whole sauce on the noodles, but we'll see. We're going to arrange 3 of the noodles, which I'm going to probably have to break these down so they fit a little bit easier. Yep. Maybe save these for like the lasagna soup or something. No, I'll probably put them, I'm not going to worry about it. You can just stick it on the side. It'll be fine. If your noodles go flying everywhere, that's just part of the fun. It's okay. Then we're going to spread some of the ricotta mixture over top of our noodles. And do this carefully as I'm just going to tend to slide. Next, we're going in with a 1/2 cup of mozzarella cheese. That's probably more than 1/2 cup, honestly. I'm not gonna stress about that. All right, next we'll do a little bit of the sauce. Now we're gonna go ahead with your pizza toppings. We're just gonna be using pepperoni, but the recipe does call for some olives, green peppers, some mushrooms, whatever toppings that you like on your pizza. This is the time where you're gonna add it. I know we're gonna go a little simple, and I'm actually just going to use the last of our pepperoni. And so I like getting those like big slices of pepperoni over at Walmart, because I'm not going to do the entire thing because Charlotte only likes cheese, so we're just going to save that for her. I am going to save the last couple pieces of pepperoni for the next layer. I'll put a little bit more sauce here. I don't really need to add it to this side because this side already has it. But anyways, then we're going to go in with some more noodles. Oh, it fits very nice in there. Some of you may ask, why aren't I using a bigger dish? Because I don't want to cook that much. I actually just want to make a small portion of this. So this size pan is actually going to be perfect. So then we're going to add the rest of our ricotta cheese mixture. But if you're looking for a lot of people and you want to make this for a lot of people, go ahead and get yourself a bigger pan. I'm sure this seems like one of those recipes that would be easy to adjust depending on the size, the amount of people that you are cooking for. A little bit more of the sauce. Again with these slices of pepperoni here. Down to my last 3. That's okay. Look at that. I get to throw something else away. I'm going to do the last 3 lasagna noodles. Whoops. That's fine. I'll do the last of the pizza sauce. Look at that. Another thing I get to throw away. I'm going to top with a little bit more mozzarella cheese. And I got plenty of mozzarella cheese because I get those big bags from Sam's Club. And if you have it, I'm going to use a little bit of the Parmesan cheese. I may even use the last of it. Maybe not the last of it. I'll find another use for it. But just sprinkle on some Parmesan cheese. Now the recipe says to bake uncovered for 30 to 35 minutes, but that was for the noodles already being cooked. Now I'm using oven ready noodles. So we're just gonna go ahead and top this with tin foil and we'll stick it in the oven. Now we're gonna stick this in 350-degree oven for about 30 to 35 minutes and we'll give it and we'll check on it. We used the last of the oven noodles, the pizza sauce, the last of the ricotta cheese, and the last of the pepperoni in the freezer or in the refrigerator and pantry. Who doesn't love being able to do this? Throwing it away. So we ended up going into the oven for almost an hour because the noodles were not quite done yet. That's what you get for using oven ready noodles. So if you want to make this and you want it to be done within 30 minutes, definitely pre-cook your noodles. I actually forgot which side is the pepperoni side, so I think I'm gonna go. It's already been sitting for about 10 minutes, so I wanted to let it cool off, kind of like a regular lasagna. Definitely want to let it cool off before you dig right into it, otherwise your sides are just gonna go bleh. Let's see how this goes. Go in for a little bit of everything. Perfect bite. That's perfect. Definitely get the creaminess from the ricotta cheese. You get 3rd-degree burns in your mouth because you didn't let it cool long enough. My husband's gonna watch this and be like, no you didn't. I know. It is hot. I'm gonna let you know. It is hot, but I usually take things right out of the oven and just eat it. It's just how I roll. This is a winner. So I'm definitely gonna say if you need a cheap and easy weeknight dinner, definitely make sure that you pre-cook the noodles So it takes a little less time in the oven. But if you do have a little bit more time and you don't feel like cooking lasagna noodles like I did, just keep it in the oven for about an hour. But this turned out delicious. I will definitely make this again. All right, y'all, that'll do it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. And if you did, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe down below, share with somebody you love, and stay tuned for more meals cooking out of my pantry and freezer. See y'all next time. Bye.